Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today I'm doing my first episode of Mailbox, the series where I'm going to answer your guys' questions. If you want to leave me a question for the next series of Mailbox, feel free to do so in the comments below. First question today comes from Rar Suga, who says, ever since the changes to weapons attachments, we've seen suppressed weapons nearly disappear from the game. Suppressed weapons do have a role to play in the game, particularly when having to run solo in a pub, or perhaps doing some behind-the-scenes action. Taking into consideration accuracy, recoil, and overall effectiveness, which in your opinion are good weapon loadouts to consider going suppressed with? Alright, so yes, the suppressor is still a very useful attachment, especially for things like team deathmatch and close quarter situations. Obviously at long range you're usually too far away to even pop on the minimap, and on top of that, long range combat is going to have a significant damage reduction because of the suppressor. That being said, the suppressor is most useful on close quarter weapons, so guns that are designed to be really effective in close quarters. For the assault rifles and AEK, the F2000, the FAMAS, those would all be great weapons to use the suppressor with. Even the M16A3, I would say, is a good weapon to use the suppressor. Just try and get up close and personal to take full advantage of it. Now, when looking at the engineer, they have one gun that kind of stands out from the rest in terms of effectiveness with the suppressor, and that is the ACWR, because the ACWR has a very low difference between the top damage and the minimum damage, so suppressor really doesn't affect its overall damage output regardless of what range you're shooting at. Other than that, I would say using suppressor on the A91, the G36C, the MTAR, M4A1, those would all be adequate guns that you can put the suppressor on and use pretty effectively in close quarter situations. And as for the support class, I would say off the top of my head the M249 and the M240B would be really good light machine guns to slap the suppressor on and try out some really close quarter combat. The next question comes from Lewis Killers, and I'm going to paraphrase it. He's basically asking me, how do I tag my videos to get extra views and stuff? Tags definitely do help out with views. I will say though, as far as search engines go, my videos that I get from people finding it by searching on YouTube is probably rated somewhere around 5 to 7%. So it's not a huge percentage, but you definitely want to optimize your tags even to get those extra percentages out there. Now, I will say, do not copy larger channels in terms of what they do for tags. You might want to look at larger channels and see what kind of tags they have on there and get an idea. But if you copy what they have on there, if somebody searches for that, the larger channel videos are going to pop first. So if you're putting in the same tags as, say, my MTAR video that has over 300,000 views on there, and somebody searches for MTAR, mine's going to pop up first. So you got to come up with specific tags that will basically be pretty unique. So if somebody searches for that specific concept or series of words in that order, then your video should pop. So you want to come up with something that you think other people aren't using. The next question comes from Silva Stomp, who is asking me if I could basically create my dream first-person shooter using all the technology that's currently available. I mean, I can't use stuff like virtual reality or whatever, but if I were to make a dream shooter based on all the technology currently available, what kind of game would I make? Now, some of you guys know that I do have a background with app development, and I've actually made a few iPhone games. Had a little bit of fun with that, and being of a designer mentality when it comes to that stuff, I actually do have a game design document that I've been working on for a while that is my dream first-person shooter. Now, someday I would love to make this game, but until then I can't really give away too much about some of the innovative ideas I have with it. I can say that it would probably be a slightly futuristic, not too futuristic, but just slightly futuristic first-person shooter with some interesting destructible environment combat. It would probably play out similar to Battlefield in a lot of ways, where you might have some rush-style gameplays or some team deathmatch-style gameplays and whatnot, but I'm all about customization, and I think Blacklight Retribution got a lot of stuff right with the way that you can really modify your character. There's no classes, but you can just customize your different loadouts to really fit your playstyle. And I think that's a lot of fun. I think it's really cool. Rather than restricting people to like, you're an engineer, this is what you do, you can build your classes to do a very specific thing, and all of a sudden you get what game designers call emergent gameplay, which is basically they design the game to sort of be fun and you can do this stuff, but all of a sudden players start inventing new ways to play the game, ways that the designers never thought of in the first place. And I think that's really cool, and that's something that you can do when you give players a huge amount of customization in how they develop their classes. So those are some ideas that I like to work with and that I think would be really cool. The next question comes from Valdo Martinez 17. He says, Level, you said that most of your subs are console players, including me. Have you ever thought of maybe picking up a PlayStation 3/Xbox and interacting with your subs that come from a console situation? I personally think it would be an awesome idea, and also giving us a chance to play with you. Would love to hear from you on the Mailbox show. Now, it's true, I don't actually own a console right now. It's not like I've never owned a console. I definitely had an Xbox and I think I had a GameCube was my last Nintendo system. People have sort of given me this sort of PC elitist rap and all that stuff, and that's not true. I just currently have been really enjoying PC gaming. It's been a long time since I've done an FPS on the console. The last one was literally Halo. So to get back into first-person shooters on the console would take a long time, and it's something that I don't know if I want to split my skill base between consoles and PC, because you really do have to dedicate a lot of time to one or the other systems if you want to be top of the game. And I really do like being very good at the games that I play. You know, it's part of my thing. It's why I don't play a ton of games. I focus on a few because I really enjoy getting into each game like completely, just exploring every aspect of it and becoming like an expert at them. So dividing my time between the PC and the console isn't something that I want to do. I would much rather just focus on one, and since I'm already on the PC, I'm probably going to stick with it for a while. But you never know, something really awesome might come out on the console that I just can't resist. I mean, the Halo 4 game looks pretty cool. I don't think it's going to be quite enough to push me over, but there's always possibilities, potential. It would just take a lot of work to get to the skill level of where I am on the PC. On the console, it would take like months and months and months of practice just to get up to where I am. So I'm sure it would be a frustrating process to say the least, but it's not something that's completely out of the picture. Maybe one day. The next question comes from Yulu Mulu Let's Play, and he says, LevelCap, what do you think about an assist me guide? Once a month you take gameplay from one of your fans and give a few advices on what he or she could do better in the future. To get these videos, you could make a post on Twitter or YouTube so that everyone can send you gameplay in something like a 2-hour time frame. This is something that I've actually thought about. I think it would be fun. Currently, my work schedule is pretty cramped right now, so fitting in an extra show is hard, not to mention a show that has a bit more overhead than the average show. You know, you gotta get the word out, you have to get gameplay in, you have to look over a lot of gameplay and pick the right one. So there's a considerable amount of work behind this show, but it's actually something that I've thought about. I think it would be a really cool way to help the community, because it's not always easy for me to know what specifically some of the newer players really want to know to get better at the game, and all of a sudden watching some mediocre gameplay could really give me some ideas on specific things for people to improve upon. So I like the idea. Potentially it could be something that I can get under wraps. Currently I'm working on a lot of stuff, trying to get a lot of projects underway, so maybe when I get those finished up I can move on to some new shows like this. Next question comes from Schuler64. LevelCap, have you shot any real guns? If so, which ones, and how'd you like them? I did answer this in an older vlog, but I've gone to shooting range and unfortunately haven't shot any sort of assault rifles or anything like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun, but I have fired a Glock and an M9 Beretta. And I gotta say, I actually really liked the Beretta. That one just seemed to handle, it was just more comfortable to shoot than the Glock. I'm not like a shooting enthusiast, but I'm definitely not like super anti-guns or anything like that. It's a lot of fun to shoot the guns, and it's kind of cool to actually do it, having played a lot of video games, you know, and doing it so many times virtually and stuff, and then actually being able to feel the kickback, the recoil, the sound in real life. It's a much different experience. It kind of gives you appreciation for how hard it can actually be to shoot on target. Next question comes from Lola Girl, who says, can you describe the characteristics and personage of LevelCap when you were young and now? Girls, friends, free time, maybe? So that's obviously a really in-depth question, and I'll just give you guys some quick little fun facts. I will say, when I was in high school, I was pretty geeky. Like, I had a hard time talking to girls. I don't know if some of you guys have had that experience, but all throughout high school, like, I could barely talk to a girl without turning like super red. That's part of because I have like really Irish skin, which it's called like skin autographia, where it changes colors really easily. So if I was nervous talking to a girl, like, not only would you hear it in my voice, but you would see it on my face. It also made talking in front of the class like just the worst thing ever. So yeah, that was me in high school. Not too great, but then I got to college and I figured out how to talk to girls and learn some confidence here and there. So I've become a little bit more confident. Definitely not less geeky though. I embrace the geek, and it's just become part of your persona. And I still see that a lot today, is like especially with my wife and her friends. They're all science nerds and stuff like that, and some of them are still trying to like play the cool person thing, and it's like, you guys are all super nerds, just embrace it and you'll probably be a bit happier in life. And that's probably the biggest difference between young LevelCap and adult LevelCap, is young LevelCap was trying to be cool and trying to like pretend like he wasn't a super geek, and adult LevelCap is just accepted that he's a super geek, and he's much more comfortable with himself now. Alright, that's enough of talking about me in the third person. The next question comes from Verum, who says, what's your opinion on the blue tint that DICE decided to implement after the beta version of the game? My opinion is, who freaking cares? Like, honestly, I cannot believe there's been such an explosion on Reddit and forums about this whole blue tint thing now that they figured out how to turn it off. Basically, it's color grading, and all games since the beginning of time have done this. The fact is, they've just become much more efficient at it now, so rather than literally doing the art, the color grading in the art itself, baking it into the textures, you can now just kind of do neutral textures on everything and apply a color grading afterwards. It's just a different process of doing things. All games have done this. For the longest time ever. They've just become more and more stylized because they're learning things from cinema and video, and they're trying to make games look a little bit more cinematic. Personally, it doesn't bother me. Sometimes I think they go overboard, and that's just artistic style. That's artistic choice. I think Metro might be a little bit too blue, but you know what? That's really DICE's creative priority. You know, like the game is a work of art, and they can crank things as much as they want, and I think things look fine as long as everybody's running the same blue tint. Then nobody really has a distinct advantage. The next question comes from Quasi and says, if DICE asked you to redesign the soldier class from the ground up, how would you change them? Adding or removing classes is allowed. You don't have to stick with 4. Now that's an in-depth question which I can give you a fairly straightforward answer to. I would copy and paste the Bad Company 2 class system over Battlefield 3. I thought it was much more balanced. In Bad Company 2 you saw a huge variety of classes all over the place. The sniper could take out armor with mortar strikes. Everybody had really cool tools for dealing with situations. And the medic, which had really good machine guns. The assault class had the assault rifles, which were some of the more popular guns in the game. But since the medic had the machine gun, you then had to sort of, okay, I'm going to use a machine gun and revive. So I'm going to lose the sort of the mobility and freedom of the assault class, but I'm going to gain the ability to revive. And now they've just given the assault class all the best guns and all the best abilities, and you just get a ton of assault with a few engineers and recon and support here and there. But I kind of like the idea of a more evenly balanced class system, and that's basically what I do. I'd readopt the Bad Company 2 class balance. So I think that about wraps it up for this episode of Mailbox. Thanks for all the excellent questions, guys. I actually really like this format. It's fun to sort of talk about more general stuff every now and then, or hot topics that the community is interested in. Please post more questions for me to answer, and rate up ones that you'd like to see answered. There was a lot of good questions that I didn't get around to answering. I did have to weed through them and pick the ones that I thought would be the most entertaining, but there were some that I was like really thinking about answering and then just didn't get around to. If you thought you had a great question, just repost it on this video, and I might get around to it next time. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a rating, and I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap signing off.